Gentani, hello and welcome to another episode of the Godfather Minute, starring me, Alex Robinson.
Starring me, a young Don Vito Corleone.
We should have got a different actor to play you for the young parts.
Oh yeah, they should have had me, Marlon Brando, play the young part 2. That could have been a contender.
Well, today we're talking about minute 48 of the Godfather Part 2.
Alex, repeat after me. E minuto. Numero 48.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, whenever it gets to 8, it's a little weird. Quarantotto.
48.
Yeah.
All right.
You got it.
Minuto numero 48.
You got it.
Well, poor Panino continues his lament on stage to his mommy dead and dearest, while Genco looks on lustily. Suddenly, his vision of loveliness is eclipsed by the dark silhouette of Don Fanucci, the Black Hand. That's pretty much it. Genco apologizes, and Don Fanucci walks away.
I love
glares at him and walks away.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Gives him a little stink eye. The old Sicilian stink eye. I like how in the past few summaries, you always make sure to give a description of what's happening on stage.
Well, that's most of the minute is stuff that's on stage, so it seems that's sure. What.
Don Panino.
Well, I don't know if he's Don, is he?
I thought that was just kind of like
Signor Panino.
Signor Panino. Yeah. He at one point while he's singing, he puts the gun to his head. Yeah. But then he pushes his own hand away.
I think that was such a funny way of doing it. Like he holds his hand up, he holds the gun in his right hand to his head, and then his left hand goes up and pushes his right hand down. Almost
very
like
awkward.
Almost like there's two different like parts of him are in fighting for control of his body.
Yeah. It's one of those things that if he does get shot, if he does end up shooting himself, CSI would misinterpret it because the gun was in
his hand fingerprints.
In a way that was,
someone's fingerprints were on his hand. There must have been a struggle for the gun.
Yeah, maybe it was that tramp.
Oh yeah,
maybe it was Don Fanucci who goes up on stage and he goes, "I need to wet my beak." He's even threatening the characters.
It turns into like having people from the audience come up and interactive. Way.
It's like Tony and Tina's wedding.
Yeah. Have you ever? Let me ask you a question. Who is the real Andy Robinson?
Who is the real Robinson?
Have you ever been to like a show or something where people come out in the audience or talk to people or whatever?
I think so. Yeah,
like
or
Cats.
They definitely come and get
Cats.
volunteers.
Famously is a show.
Oh, really?
Where
I've never seen
the
Cats.
actors come out into the audience as cats and start like climbing on the people and stuff like
funny.
that. And that's I do not want that.
No, yeah, I don't like it either.
Plus, you check your wallet every time one of those cats. Those cats is pawing you.
Those hungry actors. Those what is it? Starving artists.
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
Well, these days,
starving artists.
These days they're giving you COVID too.
Oh yeah, well
feline COVID is even worse.
Is it worse? They have 9 lives. Can't be that bad.
They have, not you.
Oh yeah. So,
what you got?
Well, so starting with the people on stage, the minute starts off with kind of a focusing on the actress. Yeah. On stage. And do you think she's supposed to be making eye contact with Genco?
It's not.
She's kind of looking around, then she kind of like looks like down
into the audience.
Yeah.
I watched that particular part twice because I wasn't sure. First time I thought yes.
Yeah.
Because then it cuts to Genco who's
beaming,
like licking his lips and all. I was like, kind of hard, breating fast.
Yeah, all sweaty.
Yeah. I don't know if it's kind of very cartoon-like, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially when ow!
Yeah.
Banging on the table.
His tongue hanging out. Meanwhile, Don Vito is just, all I have is my wife and child.
I know she's very attractive.
But the second time I watched it,
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
That she was looking at him.
Well, here's something I learned while researching. The actress's name is Carla. And there's some debate as to whether or not Genco winds up marrying this tramp.
Oh.
Because some people have said, she goes on to, becomes Genco's wife.
Well, interesting.
And apparently in the, it is explained somewhere that Genco's wife is named Allegra.
All right.
And that Allegra was a friend of Carmela's.
Okay.
Mama. Pre-mama, I guess.
Yeah.
But some people are saying, so that doesn't seem to match if her name is Carla. But some people are saying that because she's an actress, she uses a stage name of Carla, and her real name is Allegra, and that Genco winds up marrying her.
And I guess it's reasonable that Mama or pre-Mama in this scene would be friends with her. They're about the same age,
I guess.
Right.
Or, yeah.
It is suspicious.
Yeah. So I'm torn.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a cheesy prequel thing to say, yes, that's his wife. Like, we see every key moment in the person's life just happens to be on screen, as opposed to Genco must have bedded hundreds of women in his time. Like, the fact that we're happened to, like, Fanucci and his wife happen to be in the same thing, that seems...
Yeah.
It's very...
it's too nice a little package.
Yeah. It's like that Solo movie. That Solo Star Wars story.
What about it?
One of my complaints about it is that everything that's over a weekend, Han Solo gets his ship, he gets his gun, he meets Chewbacca, everything happened to him in this one weekend. So it's a similar thing with Genco. Like, he meets Fanucci, his wife is there, and I guess those are only two things. But,
yeah.
So, so we don't...
interesting. So I guess we'll never know, right? No other information about it online?
Until they make GF4.
Oh, yeah.
And then
we still won't know, though, right?
Well, unless someone says, I remember when Genco met his wife at the theater that time when Fanucci stood up. Remember?
Yeah. That's right. And little Joey Zaza was sweeping the stage.
That's right. All the characters happen to be. And George Hamilton is there, and a young Tom. That's not one of the deleted scenes, is it? Where we see young Tom Hagen?
I don't think so. No,
I don't remember ever seeing.
I don't remember ever seeing young Tom Hagen.
Like young Sonny bringing home young Tom Hagen and young Vito saying,
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think we would have remembered. I think when I read the book, that was when I first learned that Tom. There were scenes, but book scenes, I guess, about young Tom Hagen, but not much. Even in the book, it's very sparse.
So the book's
more referring back to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I do like the idea in the next prequel, they do cram all the characters into like this stage scene. Like you see Frankie Five Angels in the audience. It's like, play a little tarantella while the guy's shooting himself. They're ready to stop. I think that's who Genco is talking to. He's like, sit down, you bum. But Don Fanucci thought he was talking to him.
Yeah, because he should have done that when Fanucci glared at him. He said, "Oh no, I was talking to the other guy behind you, the guy with the violin."
Because he's standing too. I was like, "No, I was talking to Panino on stage. He shouldn't be all depressed."
Yeah. Although Panino has a gun in his hand, so maybe he shouldn't. He shouldn't complain to.
Is it more dangerous to threaten a real mobster who is unarmed, or an actor who is armed?
That sounds almost like something Pop used to say. It's better to threaten one actor with a gun than threaten one gangster without a gun.
Without a gun. It's better to pack 300 suitcases for a one-day trip than wait a minute.
So there was another follow-up question I had about who's the real Andy Robinson.
Okay.
I was going to say, have you ever called someone a bum in not ironically, like
truly,
like sincerely
Yeah.
said, like, you have called someone a bum.
Yeah,
I'm not family members. Let me put it that way.
No, I definitely have.
Really?
This deadbeat came to my house one day and he
Yeah.
said I had people pee on his carpet. Like this, I said, the bum's lost. Get out of here. Get a job, Lebowski. I shouldn't have said Lebowski. That would have been a good little thing for people to try to guess what I was saying. Sorry.
That rug really did bring the room together,
Yeah.
so I can understand why you would say. Wait, now are you calling anyway?
Yeah. To answer your question,
Yes.
I don't think I ever have in earnest called someone a bum. I do have a friend here in Portland who does refer to people as bums,
Like
and I really enjoy that.
homeless people?
Not necessarily, just undesirables. I'll leave it at that,
Yeah.
Alex.
I will admit I have called homeless people bums before, not to their
Yeah.
faces,
Yeah.
but like
Why do you call them bums? Why do you choose that word? I like the word because it's so
Yeah.
dated and fun.
right? I guess for precisely those reasons, 'cause it seems like something you don't hear people like use in a.
23 skidoo, you bum.
Yeah, so but Fanucci really takes it personal when he gets called a bum.
You're telling me.
Dude, I couldn't figure out what the Sicilian word for bum was.
I didn't either, and I'm going to ask our Italian scholar, Peter Carucci.
If it has like subtleties to it. Well, it
Yeah.
doesn't. It's not specifically. It refers to someone who doesn't own property. It's not a.
Yeah.
It's like
It's going to be something odd, like someone who rides a bike with one wheel. That's something like very unique, you know, lost in translation.
It doesn't quite. It's not a literal thing. But it literally means man with one wheel.
Yeah. Oh, that's why he's always like, moving and getting in the way. So you only use that when it's a bum who's getting in your way, in your view.
Yeah.
Blocking your view. So I will ask our Italian scholar, Peter Carucci.
Okay. Yeah.
By the way, he's still working on, he's a linguist, so I asked him the question months ago about what language is being sung and spoken in these flashbacks, and
It's not no response.
the only thing I have so far, the only thing I have from him so far is it quote, it really annoys me, end quote. So I have a feeling there are inconsistencies, like sometimes you have Sicilian speaking Neapolitan, and sometimes it's classic Italian.
Now I
So-
really want him to get back to us.
Yeah, so he'll get back to us on that. But I'll also ask him
Yeah.
what, how do you say bum, or what is Genco saying to Fanucci?
Yeah.
These are important items.
Yeah. So then go ahead.
I just want to point out some of the cinematography. There's some great shadow work.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to say.
It's so cool.
Yeah, when he says to Fanucci, and then Fanucci turns around, and then it cuts back to Genco and Vito. They're both like really like obscure, like they're in shadows from the black hand.
Yeah,
really
the stage light is
lighting.
passing through Fanucci, and that shadow is cast over Genco and Don Vito. What do you make of that, Alex?
I think it's a good, very symbolic, like almost like a chill going over them. You know, like they're I like it.
And then, after Genco apologizes, says, "Oh, Don Fanucci, excuse me."
Yeah.
More fearful. "Oh, Don Fanucci, excuse me."
Yeah.
And then Don Fanucci walks around, and then the camera's now at the back, and you see just the silhouette of Don Fanucci cross the screen.
Passing.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's great. And then the final one, I don't know if you picked up on this one, is showing the stage again, and you see just the silhouette of the lead violinist, probably the conductor too, who's leading the band, and he's just all in black because he's silhouetted from the stage lights, and which is another cool third shadow in this minute. Not a shadow so much, but silhouette, but same effect. And what's cool about it is you don't see really see his limbs or his body because it's all black, but you see the bow moving, and you see his torso, neck, and head. And it almost looks like the bow is like cutting off his head.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I gotta notice that. I can look back at that. Yeah, that's awesome.
It blew me away. It just looks awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, great stuff. What else you got?
Well, so after Fanucci leaves, Vito says, "Who's that?" And then Genco explains that it's Don Fanucci, the Black Hand. I get why they're doing this because, like, he's telling the audience basically who it is.
Yeah.
Because why would Vito not know? Vito lives with the Gencos. How would with the Abindandos? How would
Does he live with them at this point?
Well, maybe not. I guess not at this point. But he was raised by them. He
Yeah.
lived with them since he was a kid.
Yeah. Good
So it's hard to
points.
see why they would know who Fanucci was, but Vito would not know. But I guess they need to kind of explain to us who he is.
Yeah.
And if they both know, then that doesn't do any good.
Yeah, and Don Vito's been in New York for, I don't know what year this is, but he looks to be at least 20.
Well, didn't they say it was 1919 maybe 1916?
Yeah.
Oh, let's double check.
But he's significantly older than when he first arrived in Ellis Island. So you'd think, and he probably lived in New York the whole time. How could you not hear the Black Hand?
Yeah, or be familiar with it. So we'll just cut him some slack because all he has is his wife and kids. So maybe he doesn't pay attention to any of that stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there is information in the book about this, Alex.
Wait a minute. We have not gone back to the book in literally a year.
That's right. And for our listeners, this is the original Godfather book. Because those of you that have been with us from the beginning of this journey, you know that there are flashback scenes in the book that we didn't cover in GF1 because we're waiting for this very minute.
And now here we are. We've been doing this almost a year now of GF2. We're almost a year into GF2.
That's a whole nother year.
It's just 3 or 4 seasons. Wrong show. So, are you going to treat us to some of Mario Puzo's?
Sonny, I need you to stay and just work on smuggling molasses. Just another 3 seasons.
That's what you said when Fredo and Carlo left.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have done that in the elder Don Vito's name. Sonny, we just need you to stay 2 more seasons while we smuggle enough rum to meet our quota.
He's got too much of his father in him. That's what I'm afraid of.
So, are we ready to hit the book, or do you have anything more you want to talk about?
Well, I have a little. I just that's it pretty much. I have some other information about the actor, but we got a lot of Fanucci minutes coming up, so let's dip into the book for a bit.
Okay.
We haven't done that for a while.
Well, Alex, there's a lot of background information in the book, but just like usual, the book is different than the movie.
The book is different than the movie. The book is different than the movie. The book is different. The book is different. The book is different than the movie. Yeah.
Oh, that familiar tune.
Ah, yeah.
It's like a fine wine. It's aged well.
And for those of you that are new to the podcast, if you hear that music, previously that was the indication we were cutting to the bonus, ending the episode and cutting to the bonus content, but it actually is a song meant to reference the book. So here we go, Alex.
All right, what you got for me?
Page 192, Puzo writes, "In the neighborhood lived a man called Fanucci. He was a heavy-set man, fierce-looking Italian who wore expensive light-colored suits and a cream-colored fedora." And jump in anytime you want, Alex.
Okay, I was just going to say right from the start. I think it's a really interesting decision on, I guess, on Puzo's part, but also on Coppola's part, to have him wearing all white.
Yeah.
It really, it goes the opposite to what you'd expect, but it really makes him pop out because everyone else is wearing dark clothes. So to have him all wearing white, it looks cool.
Like an angel? Like a black hand angel.
Because he didn't get the memo that they're supposed to be wearing black.
Puzo writes, "This man was reputed to be of the Black Hand, an offshoot of the mafia, which extorted money from families and storekeepers by threat of physical violence. However," and this is what's a little different in the book, "since most of the inhabitants of the neighborhood were violent themselves, Fanucci's threats of bodily harm were effective only with elderly couples without male children to defend them."
Huh.
What do you make of that?
Well, that certainly doesn't go with what we see later.
Because there is more. There's a historical development. Puzo writes.
But that is interesting that
that's how he started.
That there's a category of criminals who only focus on... and that also is an interesting contrast because when Vito is the Don... the one person we see him helping is an old lady who's in a dispute with her landlord.
Yeah,
so once again, Vito is the most honorable of crime bosses.
That's right. He doesn't even look at the woman on stage with desire eyes. You're right. Puzo continues writing. Some of the storekeepers paid him trifling sums as a matter of convenience. However, Fanucci was also a scavenger on fellow criminals, people who illegally sold Italian lottery or ran gambling games in their homes. The Abbandando grocery gave him a small tribute, this despite the protests of young Genco, who told his father he would settle the Fanucci hash.
Ooh.
His father forbade him. Vito Corleone observed all this without feeling in any way involved. So let's pause for a second. So it does seem like
Book Vito does seem to know who Fanucci is.
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, this theater scene is not in the book. So I think Puzo and Francis Ford Coppola added that to fill in this background knowledge, and like you said, to inform the viewer.
Yeah,
it makes sense. Puzo writes, one day, Fanucci was set upon by 3 young men who cut his throat from ear to ear, not deeply enough to kill him, but enough to frighten him and make him bleed a great deal. Vito saw Fanucci fleeing from his punishers, the circular slash flowing red. What he never forgot was Fanucci holding the cream-colored fedora under his chin to catch the dripping blood as he ran, as if he did not want his suit soiled or did not want to leave a shameful trail of carmine. Let's pause. What do you think of that?
That, I think, is a deleted scene.
Yeah.
They did film that part where...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I remember seeing a scene where he sees Fanucci getting beat up by some thugs.
Really?
That's kind of what gives him the idea that Fanucci is vulnerable.
Yeah.
That he could be, that he's not as strong as he might posture.
Yeah.
So we'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure there's a deleted scene where we see that.
It makes sense that they left that out of the movie because it weakens the act of Don Vito
stepping up.
Spoiler alert, stepping up and doing what he has to do to take care of business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was my disguising of the spoiler. Quote, Don Vito stepping up to do what he's got to do to settle business. What do you think of I almost said Fanucci, Puzo using the word carmine for blood?
I like it.
Have you heard? I don't know if I've heard that before.
Well, being an artist, I might be more familiar with the different, like there's vermilion red and carmine red and different, the different shades of red. So maybe it's just, I guess it is a little confusing in this context because carmine is a frequent mafia name. Like I feel like it's a name you hear in mafia movies. So it's a little
Yeah,
it really seems like he went through the thesaurus and was trying to. Right. And there's also a street in New York, Carmine Street.
Oh yeah, So did he get stabbed on Carmine Street? What is he? It's
and that's
confusing.
Why they named it. They named it after all the
yeah.
They call it that because everyone gets stabbed on that street.
That'd be great. When we finally do our Godfather tour of New York and visit all the famous spots, we should name all the sites.
Yeah.
Like this would be like the Luca Brasi Boulevard.
Speaking of which, I just saw on the internet that they are going to be doing a 50th anniversary re-release of The Godfather in theaters.
Whoa!
So we definitely have to go. We definitely
have to go.
Is that
2022 then?
I think so.
Year,
yeah,
right?
this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep our eyes open for it.
I wonder if which version will they do? Just the straight up GF1?
I haven't heard.
Probably do just GF1, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard about any like added scenes or anything like that. So,
fun. Yeah, let's definitely see it.
Yeah.
Who was I talking to? I was talking to another person recently who is.
You doing another podcast?
No, someone who just said they saw all the Star Wars and Godfather for the first time, and they're maybe in their 30s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, "What'd you think?" She said, "Oh, they were great." I was talking to her more about Godfather.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, it was odd hearing for all these years about these amazing movies and then watching them. What a weird experience. All right, Puzo writes.
So were you gonna ask about what do you think about catching it in his hat too?
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I guess it's probably cheaper to replace the hat than it is his whole suit.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, because Puzo wrote that he didn't want a trail of carmine.
Right, but didn't he also say about
to
protecting his suit?
Too. Yeah. What I thought you were going to, you just missed it. I thought you were going to say it's cheaper to replace your hat than replace your reputation. Because the word gets around.
That's pop talk.
You're damn right it is. It's better to replace your fedora than to fedora your reputation.
It's better your friends underestimate your fedora and your enemies overestimate your carmine.
You see, Pop's sayings would be more memorable, not only if they made sense, but if
they made sense.
But if
this advice would be a lot better if it made sense.
But if he used better wordplay.
It's a second language, so give him some credit.
But in Italian and Sicilian, he could probably do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a lot more references to one-wheeled bikes in his...
Yeah. So if you were bleeding, Alex...
Oh, boy, yeah.
What would be most valuable? You had to walk down a whole city block of a bunch of people hanging out in cafes.
Yeah.
What would you do? Well, would it be important for you to stop the blood so they didn't see it? And if the answer is yes, what would you do to hide the blood?
Well,
this is winter in Portland. So
I'm assuming I'm not fearful, like, that I'm going to bleed to death. Like, if it's just about appearances.
Sure, yeah.
If I'm not like, oh my God, I'm going to pass out in a minute.
Yeah.
I would almost feel like I would take the opposite tact. Of walking down the street like there was nothing going on, blood gushing from my neck, and I ran out of F's to give. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like that's almost what I feel like. If you run, like your heart pumps more, so more blood will come out.
Oh yeah.
And then
that's pop talking.
Then and then it also just seems weak because you're afraid.
Yeah, weak. You're right.
So
damn, you're right.
So I would almost go up to the cafe and be like, drink a little cappuccino and be like, well, look at my watch. I guess I should go back and back to my room. I gotta go back to my room now.
Yeah. Go back and wet my beak. And it's great as you're drinking your espresso, your face is getting all pale, it's losing blood. And that's when, as you leave and walk down the street, you pull a Bruce Springsteen and you make eye contact with everyone. You go, you talking? You looking at me? You looking at me? Badlands, you gotta live them every day.
Yes,
I love it.
That's what I would do.
That's great.
So
Fanucci chickened out.
Yeah. I think when I would run down the street going, help!
Yeah. Somebody call the Black Hand! Keep wanting to make beak jokes.
Do you think that's why we don't hear him speak before? Do you think that's why his voice is all because he's
still recovering?
Yeah, because he's still recovering.
Yeah. He actually wanted to. What he meant to say was, "Oh, I'm very sorry. I apologize. I shouldn't have stood up, and I need to leave." But his voice is weak, so he just looked and they misinterpreted.
So it was right after because he couldn't speak. That's why I just looked at him because he was trying to convey like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but Genco just like immediately caved in under his. Under his,
and he was all in silhouette too, so he couldn't see. Fanucci's really all embarrassed.
That would have been great when he was walking like behind them, like right when he blocks the camera. If he was like staggering and like holding his throat at that time.
He's holding his fedora because he's still bleeding.
He dumps out his hat and there's like a gallon of blood. Sorry folks, that's the sound of the paywall crashing down. But the good news is you can go to godfatherminute.com/support, become a Patreon member, and then you can hear not only the rest of this episode, but you can hear all the bonus content for GF2 and all the bonus content for GF1 and our GF3 commentary track.
And if you sign up and start listening to that, will you be disappointed?
No!